You're listening to UCW Radio. In your face.
What we got here is a failure to communicate.
Oh, have I got your attention now?
For lack of a better word, it's good.
You know what I mean?
Money to be made in a place like this. Money never sleeps, pal.
You're crazy.
You know what it takes to sell real estate?
It takes brass.
I'm falling, and I can't get up.
Alright, welcome to Money Never Sleeps, the show where we talk about anything and everything that impacts the flow of money from around the corner to around the world. And again, interesting times we're in. We have two things. We have before coronavirus. This is the world we knew. And now we're going to have after coronavirus, the new world we've yet to see evolve. A lot of changes are going to happen. I have to say that you have heroes that are emerging, in the healthcare industry, the first responders. You have a friendlier society, it seems. Parents spending more time with their kids, and kids are out. They're not, they're out there, getting physical, playing, out there riding bike, whatever they're doing. They're actually doing things that normally they probably would forego. You have the environment, which is not surprising. It's, certain areas is clearing up. You have, nature, when left alone without human intervention, seems to take care of itself. So you have, like in Venice, the canal cleared up. You had dolphins in there and things of that nature. So just a lot of things happening there. But everyone has to do their part. And on that topic, you have a lot of companies that are launching products for the moment. See, right now in this, in the midst of the coronavirus, and we're leading towards the after coronavirus, or AC age. You have companies that are working or have their employees working remotely. They can't be in the office. They're learning, they're adapting. They're coming up with strategies on how to make that work, because when offices do reopen, here goes the reality of it, people. You right now, if you're in an office and you have one desk next to another, maybe you're a couple of feet away from the person next to you, or maybe you're side by side. And it holds true in offices and anywhere where you congregate, even in police stations. You have desks that are lined up, and call centers. You have desks that are lined up. It's going to change. It's going to change in general, because this 6 feet of separation is not just to the front or to the back. It's 6 feet, in general, your perimeter. Okay, so you're going to have these desks spread out a certain way. So it's going to be impactful for these companies, so they're adapting. You have companies that are launching products for the moment, as I mentioned. And these companies that are just launching products for the moment, these are the companies that are going to fail. If they're small public companies and they're doing that just to jump on the bandwagon, investors need to be aware of that, because they may get a quick bump, but at the end of the day, someone's going to be left holding the bag. I'm telling you. Because you have, and I'm going to go over that in a second. It's like when blockchain, was emerging, and really no one knew what it was about. But if you had blockchain in your name and your company name, investors would swarm to you. You had promoters that would push it. That would say, oh, the company does blockchain, and all of a sudden the investors are like, oh, okay, I'm going to go and buy that. That's what transpired. Look, you had an iced tea company that changed their name to a blockchain name, or added blockchain to their name. It's ridiculous. You have to be careful. Be vigilant. Do your due diligence. Understand that if a company is doing something, and this is what they do, and they're involved in technology, and they have platforms, and they have things going on, and they have a plan, and they're looking towards the future, these are the companies, whether private or public, that you have to look at. If they're private companies, they're allowing for institutional investment and accredited investors investing, then take a strong look at it, because it will serve you well. It will serve you well. Public companies that are involved in this space, that are involved in big data, cloud computing with super uber security, advanced, not just, I have a blockchain company. No, advanced blockchain. You're talking about disruptive companies, artificial intelligence. That's a big thing. Machine learning. A lot of things are going to happen in these spaces. And now, the one thing I will say, for you, you guys, people out there that are looking, to bottom fish a little bit, you have to look at these companies that are dependent on the sports industry, that are dependent on things like that. It's, if you look at companies like that have been hurt right now, that are still alive, they're not going out of business, but they're hurt. Their stock got hurt. Their revenue stream got hurt. You should take a look at these companies, because then when everything starts to open up somewhat, their revenue is gonna start to boost again, and it's going to be interesting because they're adapting now as well. So they're learning how to adapt, and they're making some things happening, and they're doing other things. Like for instance, DraftKings, they're going public. That company is doing interesting things. They're going. They don't have baseball, football, this and that, but look, they have UFC. They have horse racing. I'm sure they have betting on the e-gaming, iGaming. Things of that nature. Probably, little bugs racing, whatever it is. They give options because people like to, you have people that like the action. So they give the action. So that company, they're doing okay right now from what I understand. And when sports comes back online and people can congregate somewhat again, they're going to hit it out of the park. And I know they're going public. So that's going to be a big thing. And that company's going to thrive. No question. But look, the companies who have vision for the future, that are involved in artificial intelligence, AI, whether it be machine learning, facial recognition, you have companies out there. There's a big thing. They have drones going around, and they have thermal cameras, so on and so forth. You have to look beyond that. Beyond that with facial recognition. The platform is what matters. The cameras themselves, the hardware, it does matter, but the platform is what matters most, because that's what makes everything happen. So machine learning, computer vision, all this stuff, and involved in AI is important. As I mentioned, advanced blockchain. Not these companies that are jumping on the Ethereum backbone and things of that nature. Advanced blockchain that are disruptive, and impacting industries, developing solutions for the new world. Companies that are developing solutions for the new world, whether it be collaboration platforms and things of that nature. I mentioned Zoom on one of these shows, and look, they don't have end-to-end encryption. They got busted. They got busted. And people just don't seem to care. They're like, well, I have to communicate, and I'm in quarantine, and da-da-da-da-da-da. So what are they doing? They're utilizing it anyway. But there are companies out there that are coming out with, true end-to-end encryption. They're going to have security protocols in place, for people to safely, connect via a network. You have judges rendering decisions on certain things. and they're using a company like Zoom. And again, the security part of it is what concerns me the most. And this is why you have, Megahoot, which is going to be launching a number of things, a number of different products and platforms in this arena. There platforms now that are out there, and there are going to be more that are going to be coming out with collaboration. So you want to stay in tune for that. And talking about collaboration, look, again, this is the new world. This is the new normal. If the NFL draft can be, can hit crazy ratings and accomplish the task of running the draft out of Goodell's basement and do it virtually, well, it's proving something. What's yet to come? What's yet to come? What's going to be coming down the line? And you have to look at that stuff. You have to have vision. If you're a long-term investor and not just looking for a quick bump, you have to look at the companies that are going to not only, forget about these unicorn nonsense stuff. Stuff like that. It puts a lot of pressure on the company, a lot of pressure on what they're doing. And some of these companies, they have so much pressure, like a Zoom, for instance. I'm sure if they had the opportunity, they would have accomplished their goal of having the end-to-end encryption. I'm sure they had it, and they had it on their agenda to do, but you're moving so fast because you have to get the revenue coming in. You have to go and satisfy the public markets. You have to go and give your guidance and so on and so forth. And I don't agree with giving guidance. I agree when you come out with your numbers, you come out with your numbers. Let the market guess. Some of the investors pressure for the guidance. Let us know what you're doing this quarter, that quarter, this month, that month, this week, this day, this hour. It puts a lot of pressure on the company, and it kind of takes away from what their core thing is, to build the company, to grow it. The numbers will be what the numbers are. And if you have vigilant people at the helm, you have people that are running the business and know how to run a business, and they're streamlining everything, and they don't have excess fat on the deal, then you'll get good results. Sometimes it's good to be surprised. The street will estimate whatever it's going to estimate. You don't give the guidance, they have to go by what's in front of them, and then all of a sudden, boom, you shock the world. And nothing's better for that. Nothing's better than that. It's the excitement of things. Guidance wasn't always the key. It just became the norm for a while. So that I'm sure a lot of companies are going to change now. They're not going to give guidance now, not for a little bit. But anyway, so the companies that are involved in what's happening for the future, these are the companies that are going to thrive. They're going to show investors the greatest gains long term. Now, Vegas, the casino industry, is just interesting. You have the hotels, whether it be Wynn, whether it be the Trop, whatever it is, Caesars. These casinos in Vegas, they're hurting. Atlantic City as well. Anywhere where you have, people congregating, Vegas is trying to open up. The casinos, it's interesting because you have the ability to gamble online now. They have the ability and the opportunity now to go and cultivate things for the future, where they don't have to have, you want the casino experience is one thing. Everyone needs to do it at some point. You have some casinos that are crap, that just have rows and rows, slot machines, and, everything, basically is in favor of the house and so on and so forth. You go, you win, you lose, you go home and you cry, or you celebrate, whatever it is. But if you have the opportunity to change and be prepared for the AC world, what's going to happen now? These casinos have to adapt. They have to adjust. Vegas looking to reopen for business. The mayor of Las Vegas is being the most irresponsible person. I understand that you want to go and open up business. You don't want small business to go under, everything else. I get it. But where's the 14-day downward trend? It's not there. Same thing with Georgia. They're doing the same thing. It's irresponsible. People are going to get sick. You can have a spike. It's going to happen. It's going to happen. There's no cure. There's no vaccine. There's nothing there. You're like, oh, well, we've been cooped up for the last few weeks. We've got to let people out. Okay, business has to go. Yeah, I get it. The casinos, they have to put protocols in place. These slot machines are going to have to be 6 feet apart from each other. It's going to hit their bottom line hard. They think it's not, but it will. It will. Reopening the casino, granted, you have people that are working, everything else. They need to work. The government, the Treasury, they just approved a $484 billion plan where a nice chunk of that is part of the PPP. Okay, to make sure that people are getting paychecks. The big mistake with that, and Lynn Tilton, put it best, that they should have let that run through payroll systems. Okay, ADP, so on and so. They should have let that go through those systems because it would ensure that people are getting paid directly, as opposed to the bank controlling it. I don't agree with that because banks control who gets what and where. Okay, that is ridiculous. You're putting control in the hands of the banks. Okay, and I mean, how does that work? If you have your people that are getting paid and you have a payroll system, let it go through there. If you have smaller businesses that don't have a payroll system, well, you know what? Let them go and just create a payroll account so that all the stuff can go in there. Okay, going through the banks, big boo-boo, they dropped the ball and they're going to drop it again. And I don't know how many small businesses are going to get the help that they need. They have to. Small businesses, they're suffering right now. And they have to do something to help them to get through it. You have some businesses that are open. They're doing what they need to do. You have, some companies, some even fast food restaurants that are really, learning how to adapt in this new world. And they're coming up with ideas that I'm sure that they're implementing now, but they'll probably keep in effect. If you look at a Starbucks, okay, Starbucks, it's, when Schultz, set everything up, there was a business model that was in play, and they started implementing that, which helped the company to grow. Now, in this new world, companies like Starbucks, other companies, having the drive-through experience right now is what's going to be key for them moving forward. The drive-through and delivery and stuff like that, but more so the drive-through. Okay, if you have that drive-through experience, you can still be in business in any environment, and you just serve your food, as opposed to being shut down completely. You have a lot of Starbucks, a lot of things, a lot of places that are shut down completely because they don't have drive-through. They're just there. They have a standalone situation. So having a drive-through model, it could be very interesting. Small environments, and that they have basic things, some coffee, some muffins, and things of that nature, and people in or out. Okay, and the margins of coffee are ridiculous as well. So. Anyway, we're going to see companies adjusting, adapting. They have no choice. We don't know when sports are going to come back, whether it be baseball or football, boxing. The energy of the crowd is important in sports. You have the WWE, UFC. They're having events with no one in the crowd. Granted, you can get it done. But it's different. It's different. If ever you've seen Rocky gets knocked down, crowd's going crazy. You hear it. It gets into your system. Whether it be baseball, football, whatever it is, you hear that roar of the crowd. It just does something. It adds to everything. So, we'll see how things work out. But again, they're adapting. They have to keep the revenue going, and when things change, it's not going to go back to what we knew, BC, the world we knew, what we knew to be normal. It's going to be what we're going to learn that will be the new norm. And, technology is going to be at the forefront. It always is. You have to look for those companies that are doing some great things in technology. Just on a side note, Hertz, as you probably know, they laid off about 10,000 people a couple days ago, and they just hired a debt restructuring advisors to help them restructure their debt and get everything in order. I don't think that's going to save them right now, but it may. I don't know. I'm sure. I know that the travel industry is going to take some time to start coming back. It may take, you may be sometime in the summer, which a lot of these companies are not going to be able to survive, especially if they're not getting help from the government. So the one thing with the PPP deal is that now they're looking at companies to bigger companies to show what they're using the money for, so that's important too, because that's meant for payroll, right? It's not meant to go pay your electric and everything. It's meant for payroll to keep people employed. And I mentioned Megahoot earlier in the show. Megahoot's it's a private company, and you have a lot of platforms that are there now. A lot of other platforms are going to be launched soon. The company and its partners are involved in artificial intelligence, advanced blockchain technology, cryptography, and a few other arenas. And they're looking towards the future. The company's looking towards the future and what's going to transpire later. But that later is becoming today. So everything is, kind of escalating. Everything is moving faster. So that you'll hear a lot about that in the coming months. I don't consider the company, a unicorn, even though some, refer to it as such. I don't see it as such. I think that when people give that, put that perception, or have that perception about a company, it gives the company a false valuation. I kind of, granted, you create it, you build viable things, your valuation will be proven. You look at Facebook, it had crazy valuations, but they built the business. They have ways of generating revenue. Google generating revenue, Amazon generating revenue, even though the company, people said, well, the company doesn't make money. It doesn't make money. It makes money. It just reinvests. It does smart things. Bezos had this, on lock, and the company, was just reinvesting for the future, and that's something that Megahoot is doing as well. We'll be reinvesting for the future and growing, and it'll have its place in the sun, and have its place amongst the other tech leaders that are out there in the coming years. Anyway, so that is about it for this episode of Money Never Sleeps. Thank you for joining me, and we'll be back with you next week for other episodes touching on different things, and we'll start bringing on guests and things of that nature, as we go through this and talking about specific companies and so on and so forth. We're not doing that now. You have a lot of things going on, but we will be doing that. So just stay tuned, stick with us, and we're going to make this show as interesting as possible. All right, you guys have a great weekend, and we'll be back with you next week on Money Never Sleeps.
Initiating shutdown sequence.
You're listening to UCW Radio in your face.
What is your major malfunction?
So let it be written. So let it be done.
Ladies and gentlemen, my mother thanks you, my father thanks you, my sister thanks you, and I thank you.
All opinions expressed by Louis Velazquez on the Money Never Sleeps radio show and its website are solely his opinions and do not reflect the opinions of the UCW radio show or their parent company or affiliates, and may have been previously disseminated by him on television, radio, internet, or another medium. You should not treat any opinion expressed by him as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of his opinion. His opinions are based upon information he considers to be reliable, but neither the UCW radio show nor its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries warrant its completeness or accuracy, and it should not be relied upon as such. The UCW radio show, Louis Velazquez, its affiliates, parent companies, and or subsidiaries are not under any obligation to update or correct any information provided on the radio show or on the website. His statements and opinions are subject to change without notice. No part of his compensation from the UCW radio show is related to the specific opinions he expresses. Please read the full disclaimer on MoneyNeverSleepsRadio.com.